Oh, I don't have power on my mic.
You do now.
Oh, thank you.
Let me wait 1 second. I'm going to share my.
Chief,
Yeah.
the bridge didn't look down.
They came out and kind of cut the piece out of hanging. They ordered them to be at least a month ago. And I did ask them to maybe put a lock over how open before they did that repair.
Yeah. Beams like headache beams or?
This is one of the cross beams.
Okay.
You go, it's on the west side of the bridge, you can walk out one.
Okay, all right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone, to our August 6th business meeting. You may notice that the agenda looks a little different. We're still trying to figure out kind of what feels right for us. We're going to try a roll call tonight. I am present. Rich is absent. John?
Present.
Scott?
Yes, Scott Holbert on behalf of Flagrant Associates.
Kurt?
Present.
And Judith. Okay, and this is to aid in the transcription of the minutes so that that individual doesn't also have to watch the video. So we do have rules of engagement that apply to all of our meetings. If you haven't seen it, a copy is on the sideboard. And when you would like to make public comment, we would invite you to come to the microphone here and sign in and just try to speak into the microphone for the benefit of the folks joining us at home. Announcements, we did have an executive session at 7 p.m. tonight regarding property acquisition. And our next announcement is property acquisition and litigation. And announcements, we are thanking Jim Engel for serving for 16 years at the Tinicum Conservancy as the executive director. John, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sure. It was a couple of things that he's accomplished over the years. 5,133 acres of preserved land. 160 acre Marshall Island was done, and that's excellent that we have that. Bridgeton is for Bridgeton, 107 acre nature preserve in Bridgeton. 50 easements, properties from 10 acres up to 200 acres. And probably one of the better things he did is a formal recognition by the Land Trust Accreditation Commission in 2009, and maintaining that accreditation is quite an accomplishment. And we in Tinicum Township are deeply indebted to your service that you've given in the program of land preservation here in Tinicum Township, which, as you know, I've been very much involved in.
Yeah. So thank you, Jim.
Yes. Okay.
Those that know me know I have to say something.
Thank you.
So anyway, thank you. This is a unique relationship with the township and the conservancy. There's other conservancies, there's other townships, but people deal with individuals differently. And I think, really, I think I've dealt now with 9 supervisors over the last 16 years. And we developed things such as the MOU agreement with the township that made sure that we didn't have a permit approved that maybe violated the easement, or an easement improvement approved that violated township zoning. And, there was skepticism at some point. Folks said, well, that's an extra step. But what it has done is streamline things, and it helps the landowner to move forward with whatever project they're doing once we've had that discussion about the conservation easement. Not every township is as cooperative as Tinicum has been over the last 16 years. Although Bridgeton also is a great township and has worked with us closely in that work. So, you know, the success, John, you mentioned a bunch of facts and whatever, but that was in part because of the township. It certainly was in part about the Conservancy, and it was about the community that has supported open space long before open space was cool and long before most communities would do that kind of work. And I think as we move forward, the good thing is I'll try to keep it short. I went back to California recently, and the Conservancy I first started with was doing a number of dedications on properties that I've helped conserve. And it made me reflect back on everything that they did right. But one of the things they did not do right was replacing me. And unfortunately, they waited till I left, even though I gave them several months warning. And they went through 2 or 3 years of kind of fumbling around and losing a lot of the momentum that we had and the partnerships we had. Our board this time, man, they started like October last year, and they took it seriously. That recruiting process, it took about 5 months, or 4 months actually in total. And they looked at Eric's background and his resume and was like, okay, that's all good. But what about the personality? Is he going to fit in the community and the work we do? And then we met Eric first via Zoom and eventually in person, and we're like, okay, this is it. So I'm really glad to be here and introduce Eric as the new executive director of the Tinicum Conservancy. So.
Ready to come
He's blushing.
I wasn't really expecting to be speaking today, but fortunately, following Jim, I'll be sounding succinct. But the legacy of land preservation and natural resource protection in this area is really extraordinary. I feel very humbled by the work and the success of all the people who have made it happen before me, especially Jim. But I know there have been dozens, hundreds of others of people who have helped make this happen. Feel very honored by this opportunity, and just incredibly excited to be able to work with the supervisors and the residents of the community to help continue this legacy and keep moving the efforts in land conservation forward. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you again to Jim for many years of really remarkable service. So
Thank you. And welcome to Tinicum,
Thank you.
Eric.
Yes, as well. I look forward to your email.
Good night. Thank you. Okay. All right, moving along, under safety and emergency services, B, we have a police report from Chief Madden.
Good evening, everyone. Tinicum Township Police Department recorded 202 incidents for July, 71 for service, 47 were criminal or investigative, including 1 DUI arrest and 2 fraud reports. 71 were for traffic, 9 for training, and 4 for court. We had no reportable accidents last month, and we've had an average of 3.4 reportable crashes over the last 5 years for July. Last week, we met with PennDOT officials, myself, the township manager, Richard Rosamilia, Public Works Director, to discuss the East Dark Hollow Road closure and some of our concerns. The road will be closed between Stagecoach Road and Mount Airy Road for approximately 60 days, with the official detour being Point Pleasant Pike to Route 413. We were able to get extra signage from PennDOT in an effort to deter motorists from using Stagecoach Road and Mount Airy Road as a detour. So we will keep monitoring that situation and adjust as needed for that. PennDOT also completed the Bedminster Road Safety Study between the Village of Bedminster and Easton Road. The department reviewed crash data from 2018 to 2022. The highest concentration of crashes occurred between Spruce Hill Road and Bedminster Township, to just south of 611 in Tinicum. There were 21 crashes in this section. Most of them were single vehicle crashes where the vehicle left the roadway and lost control, either overcompensating, crossing to the opposite side of the road, or continuing off in an uncontrolled manner. The improvements to be made in this section include advanced curve warning signs with chevrons and wider edge lines. This work is anticipated to be completed by fall 2024 or spring 2025.
Does wider edge lines mean a wider roadway? Or just the striping is wider?
I don't know. I can check on that.
Okay.
Police Department received funding from the Department of Justice mini grant through Bucks County to help with funding for our first responder event in September. It's 100% reimbursement, and that will cover things such as overtime, signage, giveaways, canopies for shade. So that was $1,862.56 that we'll get reimbursed for
Great.
our purchases.
That's great.
As a reminder, the event's scheduled for Saturday, September 21st, 1 to 4 at Del Val Fire Company. And we'll have all your first responders, some live demonstrations, giveaways, and of course, food. So come on out.
Will Officer Barrington do the canine demonstration again?
We will have the canine, and I'm sure that he will volunteer again because that's what Officer Barrington does. Unsure about the dunk tank,
Okay.
to be determined, but that was a hit last year as
Yes.
well. Our co-responder program has also received funding for 2025 through the Burn Discretionary Community Project through Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick's office. So we're excited that that program is going to be funded for another year.
Okay. Of the 71 traffic incidents, Chief, did any of them involve trucks along River Road?
So I can tell you that we conducted 13 details on River Road last month for truck traffic. And we did not observe any trucks during those time. And we also, we received 3 calls for trucks on River Road, but they were gone on arrival. So
What days of the week did you do the truck details?
they were all
Random.
different days. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't have a particular day that we did them. We were also able to get the Delaware River Joint Toll Bridge Commission to place a large sign coming over the Milford Bridge with the truck restriction as just an added extra improvement to
Mhm.
hopefully help deter trucks from coming down River Road.
Okay. So did any trucks get stuck on the Golden Pheasant Bridge this month?
We did not have any this month.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Meese.
Yeah.
This is a report from the Palisades Regional Fire and Rescue. Welcome.
Hello, it's good
Hello.
to see you guys again.
Nice to see
It's a
you.
little different crowd this time.
Yeah.
Um, So I sent in my report. I don't know, is it distributed through everyone? So you see how many calls and things. You can see as it was a little light in Tinicum this month, or June, we do a month behind from what you're operating on. But it's been very busy, especially a lot of time spent at that storm a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
You'll see though that just year to date, we have 272 calls. So that the whole department is running over a call a day, which I've been in the fire service in this area for over 48 years. And I remember when I first joined, we were lucky that you get 2 a month, so I
Wow.
mean, the things have really changed over the time period. And, it's the nature of growth and everything else traveling. You'll see in the reports, I noticed the police chief gave a breakdown of the actual types of calls. Our calls are very wide ranging in type, but if you go to the second and following pages of the report, it'll show you the different types of calls, or fire alarms, truck fires, standbys, barn, just going through a few, EMS assists, wires, plenty of wires calls. So, I mean, if you would like to see more information or a different presentation of the way I give the report, it's a work in progress. As you can see, it's always had the municipalities, how many calls we go to. And it also started with the municipalities that we assisted. I've also added a section now of the municipalities that assist us.
Mhm.
And then the ones that we go to outside the county. So that being said, that's the report type that by month. One thing I'll update on that the department is doing with the consolidation, we took a inventory of our fleet, our trucks and things. We have in the plans to consolidate. We're gonna get rid of 3 trucks.
Hmm.
We're gonna consolidate down to 1 heavy rescue, a special service that gets rarely used, and an old engine that we kept as a reserve engine that did not get used for a whole year as a reserve piece. So it was felt that the need was not there. We can just move equipment around to cover if necessary. So we're doing our due diligence of, trying to save money and consolidate, between all 4 stations that we run out of.
Mhm.
There's some other things,
What do you normally keep in Ottsville?
in Ottsville,
Mhm.
at the Ottsville station.
Yes.
There is a ladder truck there, a tanker there,
Mhm.
a brush truck with a utility UTV for the
Mhm.
the rock, the limited access. Right now, the heavy rescue truck is there. That will actually be one of the things. That's not what's getting rid of, but it's going to be moved to the central location of the Nakamixon station.
Okay. So after you do that downsizing of your fleet inventory
Yeah.
and kind of.
Most of the equipment is coming out of the Wrigglesville station.
Okay.
The stuff that's being consolidated. So other things are moving around.
Okay.
There won't be any less equipment
In Ottsville.
in Ottsville.
Okay, great. Thank
So-
you.
You did mention that you were talking about having a town hall.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we're open to dates that are convenient. The one date that I thought may work, you used to during the winter months have your work sessions. Was it the 3rd Tuesdays?
For a short period, we did that. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're gonna continue that or your schedule. What I was thinking that would be, people are used to coming to meetings
Mhm.
on that date. I know you don't do it during the summer, but maybe you would want to think about that. I know the other chiefs did not come up with anything,
Okay.
but I mean, I'm open and Chief Schick is open. We'll, set something up that's, convenient for you.
Okay.
Oh.
How much?
Yeah.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
sorry.
Jim.
Are you talking about a town hall just for Tinicum Township or?
No, it was just for Tinicum. It was just for
Okay.
Tinicum. You, or someone requested that, Judith may have,
Okay.
saying that you wanted to discuss future funding and, your budget sessions coming up, involving the fire tax and other revenue sources. So
Okay, so
it's not what we talked about
Okay,
at
it's
the
just-
municipal
okay.
meeting. No,
Right.
it's not that. That's next year sometime.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
How much lead time do you need?
I would like at least 2 or 3 weeks if
Okay,
possible.
great.
I do a lot of traveling out of the area.
Good.
So,
Maybe we can pin down a date before the end of this month.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, if, I'll just look at my calendar quick to make sure. So you wouldn't do anything in the remainder of August, I don't think, right?
Correct.
Okay. So really the only time I'll be away is Labor Day week. So,
Okay.
whatever works and however you would like. I mean, we'll certainly present, how I did submit our financial report and I did submit our budget. And John and I have talked at other meetings about the way other municipalities, contribute to the fire departments.
Okay.
So
What is your membership like at this point?
it's tough. I won't pull any punches.
Mhm.
Over the last, 10, 15 years, the volunteer service has not been an activity that draws support anymore. Lifestyles are busy.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that we talk about at our municipal advisory meeting. The future plans of the fire service in every area of the, country really, but we will need help. The departments will need help in the future, 4, 5, 10 years from now in certain steps.
How many active members do you have?
I don't know exactly.
Roughly.
There's probably 8 to 10 at each station, so 40.
Okay.
It comes and goes with shifts and activities. But we do have a good core group. There's, we never scratch a call.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Any
Thank you
other
so much for
questions?
coming.
Anybody?
Not from me. Does,
I'll take public questions, certainly.
any questions? No? Okay.
All right, very
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
Yep.
You. Next up, we have our first round of public comment. Would anyone like to make comment? Okay.
Always the second one, I know, that will be. First of all, just want to thank everybody in the township who helped with the cleanup from the storm.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Cleaning, thanking for the cleanup from the storm, because that was certainly a surprise and held us hostage there, and just, I guess, remind that many, or I don't know, me, I have no way of communicating when we lose electric, because there's no cell service at my house and things, and there's others in the township that may also experience that. So I think we just need to see if there is some adjunct way that in an event where we're out for 5 days or 4 days,
Mhm.
if there's a way to just kind of size things up or check on people or see if there's some other method of communication. I don't really know what that would be, but I
Do
do
you-
know that
Mhm.
when everything's okay, it's okay. And I'm like, oh, it's nice and quiet. And when this is wonderful. However, if there was a problem, there's no way I could make a call to anybody,
Okay.
or do anything except maybe send a smoke signal or
Right.
something. I don't know. So it could be a problem.
Mhm.
And I don't know if there's any system for that.
Do your neighbors
yeah.
check on you?
Huh?
Or do your neighbors check on you? Or
Well,
you
because
check on
my
each other?
house is close to the road,
Mhm.
people drive by, they don't necessarily come in to see if I'm walking around, but I mean, it's something that maybe we just do a neighborhood cooperative, but it might be something you can suggest, just because I think we'll have more events. Seems like we're always having them. Number two, why wasn't there any kind of public notice about the Dark Hollow Road work and the closure for 2 months? Because usually they post signs and let
Mhm.
you know. It gives some kind of anticipation, and this was rather,
Sure. I think Judith can
Sudden.
address that.
Yes, I can help you with that. Basically, we were alerted on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday from PennDOT with a notice, just an email. So can everyone hear me? So we were alerted, I had gotten an email that was basically the generic email that all of the residents would have seen come across a website. So we had gotten that. So I had immediately contacted PennDOT, and we had gotten an email just providing us with the same information that everyone else had gotten, that they were just closing the roads and it would begin on Monday. So we had emailed a couple times with no response. At that point, I had contacted the senator's office, Senator Coleman, and then State Representative Lab's office. And we created a Zoom meeting immediately that Thursday morning at, I think, 11 a.m. Included Chief Madden, Public Works Department, invited the Board of Supervisors, if anyone was available that day. So we had included everyone that we possibly could, but we were also provided short notice. So we had talked about the closure, we had talked about the detour. Chief Madden and Matt Overbeck, our Public Works Director, came up with some alternatives that they thought would be more positive for the residents. And PennDOT did listen to their requests and their thought process, which we were very hopeful of. But unfortunately, we had not gotten premature notice ourselves. So as soon as we knew, we immediately, most immediately placed items on our website and so forth for everyone. And we have been doing as much informational items that we possibly can to help the residents. But unfortunately, you know,
How
we
did you
we
define
reacted quick-
residents of, I mean, like, the people living along there didn't get specific notices, did they?
Only the police department had it on their website, we had it on our website, and PennDOT
Yeah.
sent it out on their website.
On my-
But we didn't have anything else.
Right. This is a PennDOT project, so we would not have known ahead of time unless, like I said, we were provided with information. So as soon as we knew, we immediately posted our website and so forth with what we could do in a quick fashion to inform the residents. But that's as much as we could possibly do in such a quick turnaround.
I think also the police posted on the Facebook page.
Yes.
To help get the word out.
All right, yeah, it wasn't that much that I could see on the website for the township. But it is kind of a concern now. What are they doing? Do you have any specifics on
Yes,
that?
what they're doing is the roadbed has eroded because of all the storms. So this has been going on for quite some time. So they're doing a total roadbed restoration.
So
So we know that it's an inconvenience for some time, but in the end, the roadway will be a better roadway system
Mhm,
and a
so-
safer roadway system.
And that will be done in 2 months, or is
That's,
that?
they have a special permit to do this, so they are limited in time also, so yes. So we believe that the road closure also pertains to the short period of time that they only have to accomplish this work. So by doing that, it will hopefully get them to be able to do that sooner.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if Chief Madden, you have any other information than I do at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And then, uh, Center Road culvert cleanup.
Yeah. Matt contacted PennDOT, Center Road Culvert Cleanup.
Yes,
It's in.
He did,
the
yes.
budget
yes,
report.
yeah.
Yes, I
remember.
called about a week or so later and the fellow was like, oh yeah, I think I got a call from a Matt Overbeck. We do that stuff in the fall. I said, no, this has been closed for several years. And now it's completely clogged. And if we get what we're going to get next few days, we could lose Headquarters Road. So that it's really serious. I tried to explain that to him and he was very,
Mhm.
we'll get around to it. It's very serious because no water can get through.
Yes,
And that does become a major conduit of water and it
Yes.
will blow out the road, Headquarters Road, if it's not dealt with. So it's very serious. Certainly we've talked about the menagerie of sticks and logs and branches and everything else that continue to increase along Tinicum Creek as well that haven't been touched. But this is very, very serious.
Mhm.
You can't even see the culvert because it's so packed up and it's completely full on the inside. So I would hope that, again, a phone call could be made and they could get that cleaned out right away.
We'll do
Sure.
that.
Yes,
Uh,
immediately we had Matt Overbeck, our
Yes.
Public Works Director, contact PennDOT.
Right.
And Melissa also, there's a site that anyone can go on, which is, we also have that posted on our website, that she had gone on that and so did Matt, and they put the information in that site also along with Matt calling. So we're doing everything that we possibly can to try to
Yeah.
get this rectified.
No, I thank you, but when you speak with the gentleman who's in charge, he's rather out to lunch about the whole thing. Doesn't take it seriously. And so I think, another strong voice again
Yes.
would be good before damage happens, like on Dark Hall, like they
Mhm.
ignore it, the damage keeps going, and then we're really closed up for a long time. We can't do that. We don't have that many roads.
That's true. We'll convey
At
the
this point.
urgency.
Yes.
And just it's on another note, as I mentioned, with the 250th anniversary of our country, I was talking with Amy Hollander, who does some of
Mhm.
those programs at the Stover House in the park for the county, and whether or not there could be some kind of an ad hoc committee and with township recognition, support, whatever, to help identify maybe a couple of programs or certain things that we could do to help participate and bring awareness of what was happening here as part of our country celebration, what kind, what it was like here
Sure.
and
Why wouldn't we ask the historical commission to do that?
you could. I mean, yeah, I mean, and
Mhm.
Ethan, we've talked about it at the art festival and things like
Perfect.
that too. So I would like to get a group of people, but it would also maybe pull in the county's efforts and so forth and
Okay.
maybe help to bring a few more things and
Can you send us a brief email,
idea.
kind of describing what it is you have in
Mhm.
mind? And then
Okay.
we can circulate that to the historical commission and get the conversation started. It's a
And
great
yeah,
idea.
thank you. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Kathy. Any further public comment? Seeing none. Moving on, we have the solicitor's report.
Yeah, we, an update for the headquarters road bridge. We actually have a couple of items on your agenda here tonight. We got the the final draft of the turn back agreement back from PennDOT last month. I think it was the second week of July. Over the course of the last week, I've been going back and forth with them from some additional changes, removing some superfluous language, clearing some other items up, and at this point, we're ready to move forward.
Okay.
From where we were in April and February, it's good to see that we're moving forward. The second item is,
Ready for 8 seconds?
yes, that's,
Wow, great. What's the happen?
It's at the end of the agenda. And that's when we'll do discussion on that agenda item.
and the second item is just, obviously we have the financing with the Wood Tiger Fund. They asked for a minor modification to their payment schedule. They just wanted a little bit more time. We had talked about trying to get $3 million by November. They just asked that we could change that deadline to January 3rd, but they've already contributed half the money to the township. So we're waiting on the last half. So we're just pushing it back about 45 days, I believe. So those are two items we have on the agenda, the full turn back agreement as it's been changed since February and an amendment to the Wood Tiger Fund agreement.
Right, we have the, tonight on the agenda, we have the complete Wood Tiger Fund agreement with the township. This memorializes kind of all the details that we've been working on since we voted to accept their offer in February. And this Wood Tiger agreement that we will be discussing at the end, towards the end of our agenda, reflects this requested updated payment schedule. Anything else?
No, that's all I have for the
Okay.
evening.
Great. Kurt?
Yes, I'll
Yeah.
give my update.
Yes.
I've did something a little different, so it's listed on the agenda as a bridge updates and other items. So I've prepared a list to go to the board of basically the status of some of the subdivision land development projects, as far as which ones have been conditionally approved, which ones are underway, or where we're waiting on certain things for those projects. So I don't plan to go into detail unless there's any questions about any of the ongoing subdivision land development projects. But I just wanted to have a list available so that the board is fully aware of where certain projects are. But I will go into some detail on the bridge items because in particular they've been a pretty hot topic. So the first one I'll mention is Golden Pheasant Road Bridge. So we're still, as of last month, I do not really have an update because we're still waiting on information back from PennDOT on further design and easements. And I have not received them yet from PennDOT. The headquarters road bridge, the structure design is still underway per the McMullen contract executed on April 16th, 2024. We, as of today, we received the 50% structural plans, which was part of the contract, would be an internal coordination plan where I would coordinate site issues with the structural plans. And like I said, I just received them today, so I have not had a chance to fully review those plans at this time. As reported last month, the GP11
submission package. I'm just waiting on further direction, which was the PennDOT turnback agreement before submitting that to DEP. So once the turnback agreement is authorized and the township desires, I can make that submission. Assuming if that happens tonight, I could make that submission by the end of this month and would still keep us on our projected schedule.
Great.
So that's all I was going to comment on for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
And our manager's report.
I have some fun things first. On August 10th, the hazardous waste collection event at Ben Salem High School in Lower Bucks County is taking place. On August 10th, there's a chicken barbecue that will be held at our Ottsville station. First come, first serve, and I believe there's a flyer that's hanging in the back. So anybody that's interested in the chicken barbecue meal, it's $15. On September 28th, there's a paper shredding event at the Grass Elementary School located at 600 Rickard Road in Sellersville. The first responders night, again, we'll talk about that and say that's September 21st, held from 1 to 4 at the Del Val Volunteer Fire Company. As you heard, we did have a meeting with PennDOT, the officials, state representatives and state senator's office, and all of the staff here and chief of police regarding the road repair and the stabilization repair that PennDOT is working on. And as I said, I know it's an inconvenience, but we're hoping that we look at this in a positive way, that we'll have a well-structured road as soon as it's finished. And Matt had contacted PennDOT. We will definitely contact PennDOT again regarding the culvert clean out at center and headquarters. We've done it before, and we'll continue to do that in hopes of getting that done quicker. The Fleecy-Dale Road Bridge Replacement Project is still ongoing until September. There was a letter drafted by Chairperson Breslin that was sent regarding the public comment timeframe for the Eulerstown Frenchtown Bridge Rehabilitation Project. That was spoke about at the previous meeting last month. The Bucks County Department of Parks and Recreation also has an online brief survey for the residents if you're interested in telling them what you would like to see and communicate your desires for the Parks and Recreation programs and activities. There's links on their website and our website. We're also communicating with the fire companies and chiefs to select a date, time, and location for a town hall meeting so we can talk about the fire companies and what they do and how they need help, not just with monies, but also with volunteers and so forth. So we're working on that. There was also, a meeting with the emergency management coordinator regarding the action plan that took place at the July 17th storm. We assessed the damages with Chief Madden and Public Works Director Matt Overbeck. And I too would like to thank everyone. We had some trying times for a week, just alone here at the municipal building with no electric, no telephone, no anything. So I certainly understand how everyone is feeling. And everyone did a phenomenal job working together to take care of the trees, contact anyone that needed to be contacted regarding, electric and so forth, trying to get things to move along as quickly as they possibly can. So a giant thank you to everyone, because when we have these storms and outages, it's tough on everyone. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into it that no one behind the scenes really, sees what goes on behind the scenes, I should say. I've also been in contact with Senator Coleman's office and State Representative Shelby Labb's office regarding grants that may be available for our township needs. We also want to announce that our current township tax collector term ends on 12/31/25, and the position will be placed on the ballot in May of 2025. So if people would like to be interested and think about that in the future, please watch for all that information. The auditor's 2023 DCED report has been filed and advertised. We also made sure that all of the 2024 ordinances have been sent to the Bucks County Planning Commission and the Bucks County Law Library. The tax collector's monthly report for Tinicum Township was provided to everyone. And we do have some Parks and Recreation information on the agenda this evening. That is my manager's monthly report. If anyone has any questions, please let me know.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none. The supervisors received a report from our Public Works Director. It is in our board packet. I have reviewed it. I don't have any questions. It describes the activity of the department for each week from June 30th through the end of July.
Would you like me to elaborate on anything? I certainly would. I can tell everyone that there's been the seal coating project is ongoing, that will be taking place shortly, and the crew's been repairing potholes constantly. So far, 40 tons of blacktop were used to make necessary repairs. So again, giant thank you to the Public Works Department. They're doing a very diligent job on taking care of our township roads. And that's really what most of the report reports. Holes, dirt roads, all of those things. They're diligently working on all the roadway systems. Thank you.
I just noticed something here with this roller. It seems to show up on the reports a lot. Are they working to replace this roller?
It will be on the needs list of
Okay.
of budget for this year. Yes.
It
Yes.
seems like
They-
it shows up every other week.
they've
There's
been-
something they're doing to that roller.
They've been repairing it and repairing it and repairing it. Thank you for noticing.
Does it still only just go in one direction? or does
Yes, it does.
That's true.
Yes, yes, they do need a new one,
Yes.
and they've been advised to place it on their needs list, not their wants or wish list, but their needs list for the budget session of going into the 2025 year.
Okay.
Hard to say that, but it's on its way.
Mhm.
But thank you for noticing.
Okay, great. So we are trying something new here for our meetings, and that is a consent agenda. So I will read each item listed under the consent agenda on our agenda, and then we will, in one motion, accept these or move to accept these. Number one, consideration of the Tinicum Civic Association Stover Mill. They have requested the assistance of the Delaware Valley Volunteer Fire Company, Fire Police for traffic control and parking for the following event. The September 1st, 2024, September open house at the Stover Mill, which it will be from 1 to 5 p.m. Number two, consideration of the 43rd Annual Covered Bridge Rides, a bicycle event to be held in Tinicum and neighboring townships on October 13th, 2024, from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. with setup and cleanup included in that time frame. Number three, consideration to appoint Judith Danko as Township Treasurer. Number four, consideration to appoint Judith Danko as Secretary. Number five, consideration to appoint Judith Danko as the Pension Plan Administrator. Number six, consideration to appoint Melissa Baudelier as Assistant Secretary. Number seven, consideration of the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes from 7/2/24. Number eight, consideration of the Treasurer's Report for June 2024. Number nine, consideration of the payroll report for June 2024 in the amount of $79,096.38. Number 10, consideration of disbursements for June 2024 from the general fund, disbursements totaling $150,209.36, from the state fund, $3,087.41, from the open space fund, $10,193.59, and from capital and equipment, $0, from the escrow fund, $6,160.46. Those are all the items on the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I will second. Do we have any discussion? No. Any public comment? Hearing none.
Elaborate on the open space disbursement.
The open space, that is the interest payment on the bond. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Action items. The first one up is the consideration of an ordinance, the Board of Supervisors of our township, amending section 706 of the Tinicum Township zoning ordinance to create a municipal government use. Scott, would you like to elaborate on this?
Yeah, this was, obviously, we've talked a little bit about this in the past. Planning Commission just recently reviewed a draft ordinance to create a municipal use. It's not something existing in our zoning ordinance. It exists in other zoning ordinances throughout different municipalities in the Commonwealth, specifically in Bucks County as well. It's a way to create a use for us that this building, our uses, there's not really a good analogy in our ordinance for any type of expansion, improvements, what we need to do. So we're creating that so we can move forward with the potential expansion project. And this is at this time, the vote right now tonight is just to advertise the ordinance to continue moving forward. The planning commission was reviewed. We vote to advertise. It'll be sent to the Bucks County Planning Commission. And judging by the timelines of where we are today, it will be on the agenda at the October meeting for final approval.
Right. And the rationale behind this is simply given the site limitations for this parcel, in order for the township to proceed with any renovations or additions to this building and improvements to the site, we would need
Variances.
a fair amount of variances, given just the physical restraints of this oddly shaped parcel. So this is an efficient way to resolve that, and it is a mechanism that is commonly used for
Yes.
municipalities for this purpose. So I will make a motion to advertise the amending section 706 of our zoning ordinance to create a municipal government use.
I'll second.
Okay, any public comment? Please come on.
Just curious, Catherine Auerbach, Center Road, if that is then applicable to all township owned properties, like your parks and things? So everything that,
Yes,
yeah. And that's full ownership, not an easement property. but
Correct.
just- Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
it would not apply to any easement property.
And
How
you,
mu-
you can't kind of spot zone for one parcel. So this is the way to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is the consideration of the resolution that the Tinicum Township Board of Supervisors opposes HB 1976 and HB 2045 and supports local control of zoning decisions to serve the unique needs of our community. So in summary, this is a resolution that our planning commission considered at their last meeting. And HB 1976 and HB 2045 are two bills that are in committee. So they're not, currently under debate. They're not scheduled for debate, but they are in committee in Harrisburg. And these bills, the underlying rationale behind them is to alleviate the housing crisis that communities are feeling throughout the state. The way that this bill proposes to do that is for municipalities where population exceeds 5,000 people, 5,000 residents, and there is municipal water and there is municipal sewer. So everyone's on municipal water and sewer, and more than 5,000. In those municipalities, local zoning would be preempted by the state. And this would allow for more dense development. It's my opinion that local zoning ordinances are one of the few tools that municipalities have in order to provide for the safety, health, and welfare of their communities and meet the unique needs of their communities. And I am strongly opposed to preemption. Our planning commission reviewed, well, I'll back up. The Bucks County Association of Township Officials, they drafted a resolution in opposition to these two bills for municipalities in Bucks County to consider passing. That is the resolution that our planning commission has reviewed. It is their unanimous recommendation that our board approve this resolution and just, communicate kind of as strongly as we can that we oppose this action in Harrisburg. And that is, do we have to read it?
No.
No. So that is what that is what this agenda item is about. So I will make a motion that we pass the resolution opposing HB 1976 at HB 2045.
I will second that
Okay,
wholeheartedly.
all right. Any public comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 3 is the consideration of the letter that Supervisor Cole wrote addressing the local river municipalities in connection with truck traffic on River Road. John?
Yeah, these trucks now, these large, and we're talking about over the road tractor trailers. We're not talking about local deliveries, even axle dump trucks, things like that are not what we're looking to get off the road. We're looking to get off the road of those problem vehicles that have been creating havoc up and down River Road in our township, and I don't know, beyond our borders perhaps. We're now experiencing a lot of complaints from people in the Point Pleasant area down there with damage to buildings, damage to the bridge at Point Pleasant. These vehicles are not appropriate. Now, the state has a limitation of 45 foot as a length, but that's apparently not good enough to take it off a GPS roll. So at this point, I'm looking to get rid of tractor trailers completely from the road, over the road tractor trailers. There's really no need for them to use that route. There are a good six or half a dozen routes or so that go around River Road for them to use. River Road is narrow. It's got blind spots. It's got sharp curves. It has historic structures right on the road. It has parks. It has, all kinds of things that would, if you're doing a local road, that would allow you to exclude these kind of vehicles from it. And I don't understand why the state at this point allows it. River Road is also a scenic highway. And it's a highway that's used a lot by tourists in the summertime and visitors to our township and our state. And it's really, in my mind, an inappropriate form of traffic to have these going down. And this is somebody who's spent a lot of time driving commercial vehicles. It's not something that I do because I don't like trucks. I happen to like trucks. I like tractor trailers. I like driving tractor trailers, but I don't think they belong on that road. So what I've done is I've drafted a letter to the townships up and down the river here, because it's going to take more than Tinicum Township to get this done, and see what kind of support it can elicit from these people and get them to help us out from the other townships. So also maybe put some pressure on PennDOT to just put a restriction on the trucks completely, to take it out of the GPS rolls, so that when they punch it in for GPS and they're looking for a no-toll route, they're not going to find one. It's not going to be that route. Because I firmly believe that's why they're using it, to get around that's probably $24 to $30 toll or whatever it is to get across these bridges that go out of New Jersey. The last one they had that was really appropriate was just they call it 295 now, down there, the Scudder's Falls Bridge, which became toll when they built the second bridge down there. And that's when I think that's when we really started to see major problems. So that's what we're doing at this point. We're going to engage with a lot more people to put some pressure on PennDOT.
Yep.
To get that done.
Okay. So do we need a motion to have this letter go out?
I have, not necessarily, but I would have one to show your support.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion that we send this letter out to the local river municipalities that would ask for them for support in restricting tractor trailers on River Road.
And that would be Bridgeton,
It's Bridgeton and Nakamixon, Bridgeton,
mhm,
Tinicum,
Plumstead.
Plumstead, Solbury, and New Hope Borough.
Okay, I'll second. Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 4, consideration of a park and recreation.
Someone.
Yes, of course.
This, of course, this would be not affecting local deliveries. Local deliveries are still allowed. We really probably have 1, maybe 2 businesses there on River Road, maybe perhaps 3, that get tractor trailers there. Walter's Nursery probably being the most likely to get tractor trailer deliveries. These deliveries, of course, they're going to be allowed to come in.
Sure.
They're not banned. It's trucks going from point A way north from us
Mhm.
to point B way south of us and vice versa. It's the through traffic that we're worried about.
You don't, okay,
Okay, that's it.
okay, great. Thank you, John. Did we do the all in favor?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Next up, we have the consideration of the Park and Recs committee proposed bylaws. They have also drafted a mission statement and a general maintenance plan. These documents were included in the board packet that was circulated to the Board of Supervisors at the end of last week. I have reviewed them. Have you had a chance to review them, John?
I've
Okay.
read them over, but
So my feeling is that these are not yet kind of ripe for taking a vote on. So I would be inclined to table these items.
I think we need to have a work session with them again, work session meeting with them to iron out some things. There's some things in the what do they, not the comprehensive plan, what do they call that? General maintenance plan, was something they included in there, some items that had specific like monies attached to them on all, which I don't know that we're prepared to do that yet.
It's called the Tinicum Township Parks and Recreation Development Plan.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling that one.
And I'll acknowledge that our Park and
Yeah.
Recreation Committee has put in a lot of time and effort this calendar year, kind of give shape to the activity of that committee. And I think for me, kind of the first step to help, the first step is really soliciting public input on what our community wants to see out of our parks. And then I think that feedback we can adjust the documents, amend the documents that they have proposed and submitted for consideration to reflect the feedback that we will receive from our residents. And then these will be ready to move forward.
Yeah, their vision statement's very good. I like that. And their general bylaws were not bad. But there are some other things we need to iron out with them, I think,
Mhm.
before we go ahead and
Mhm.
take action. I can wait till next month.
Okay.
I like your suggestion, John, about the, meeting with them.
Yeah,
I think that would be wonderful if we could sit down and go over all the different thought processes.
That sounds great.
yeah, because we didn't have this before when we met with them. We went to see them at their meeting, I think, didn't we?
We did attend the July meeting of Park and Rec,
I don't know that we had this in our
right? Or was
hands.
it June?
It was not July, I don't think.
Then it was June. The
I don't
three
know
of
that we
us
had
did.
this in our hands at that time.
I'm not sure.
I don't think we had all of it. So, okay.
So would it be a good idea for me to organize the Board of Supervisors going to their next Parks and Recreation meeting? Or would you prefer that they come to our next second meeting of the month, our workshop?
And Melissa's checking on the date of the next Park and Rec meeting. It would probably be Wednesday, the 20th or the 14th.
So is that a Wednesday?
It's next Wednesday.
The 11th of September.
Or would you prefer we invite them to our September workshop meeting?
I am pretty sure I could do the meeting next Wednesday night. I would just need to look at my calendar, which I don't have
No, I'll be back by
I
then.
don't have
I'll be
in
here.
this bag with me. But I think that can work. And then we'll also ask Rich.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to get it done with we want to do it we want to get it done.
Yes.
I don't want to
Mhm.
let it back burner.
Sure. So we will look to meet with them. We'll reach out to the Parks and Recreation to meet with them at their August, I apologize, 14th, thank you, meeting.
Okay,
I'll put that on here before.
great.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the consideration of the Headquarters Road Bridge Turnback Agreement. This is a highway transfer agreement drafted by PennDOT, in negotiation with the solicitor for the township. How many pages is that?
6 or 7.
Yeah.
7 pages plus about 10 pages of exhibits that include some of the resolutions we've passed previously,
Mhm.
and then the Pennsylvania Commonwealth, their statewide Commonwealth standards, terms and conditions for any contractor, municipality, or private otherwise. It's not anything we aren't legally obliged to follow, as it is regardless of whether this is included or not.
Okay. And this turnback agreement, Judith, was this included in the board packet that you emailed to all supervisors on Friday?
It was not.
It was included on the agenda,
On
but
the
the
agenda.
agreement, this last most recent revision came from me from PennDOT yesterday,
Okay,
but it had been on the agenda for notice of this as well.
okay. Did any supervisors reach out to you with questions or concerns?
Other than no.
Okay. Um, all right. John, have you had an opportunity to
I have.
review this?
I read it, the last revision that just came through. Was it yesterday it came through?
Yes.
Yeah, I read it yesterday. I read it.
Do you have any questions?
No.
And I just point out that, the revisions are things we asked for that were in our favor to remove some superfluous items. We've had a draft copy of the standard turnback agreement from PennDOT since, I want to say February, but it even could have been January that I had in the first copy. So not much has changed other than filling in the blanks, as well as removing a provision that talks about PennDOT's rights for excluded structures. But because we have no excluded structures and we're taking complete turnback of the bridge, it was superfluous language that PennDOT was obliged to remove for us.
Okay. So this is the document that, upon full execution, transfers ownership of the headquarters road bridge and the approach roadways from PennDOT to Tinicum Township in perpetuity. And Scott, have you had an opportunity to look at this? I'm sorry,
please,
not
Kurt.
Scott, Kurt.
Yes, I looked at the prior version,
Mhm.
and I've recently read through the few revisions on it.
And the diagram reflects what you understand we would be taking ownership of.
Yes, I have previously reviewed the segments that were being conveyed, as well as the straight line diagram from PennDOT. So,
And when segments, you mean segments of the roadway?
yes, correct,
Okay.
including the bridge structure.
Okay, and it's from the stop sign at Red Hill Road,
Correct.
that kind of intersection right there, that section of headquarters road, the bridge, and then on the east side to the stone wall at Sheep Hole.
It's not, I wouldn't have
The
minded that.
Depot Road intersection.
Okay,
That is something I wanted to ask, because the diagram here doesn't show it all the way back to the stop sign at Red Hill Road. It falls short just a little bit. And not that it worries me too much. The only thing to think about is snow removal, like who's gonna plow what when the time comes? Because that's the one thing to make sure is everything gets plowed down there. Like I should have asked Matt this before, but who plows it now?
Yeah, they drew this, PennDOT drew the diagram based on a center line geometry at the center of the intersection. So that, as far as the plowing, like that is something that would have to be worked out cooperatively. As far as maintenance with PennDOT.
Yeah, but our guys are down there to do sheep hole anyway, so it's not like they're
Right,
not in
you're
the
already,
area.
yeah, you're doing there. It's, do you plow a little bit further or do you stop?
Yeah,
And you're already driving in that direction, so. That's common for a lot of townships that work out those agreements with PennDOT.
okay, so it's something Matt would be working on. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
all right, so I will make a motion that we execute the turnback agreement.
I'll second that.
All right, any public comment? Please come up.
Thank you. This sounds really exciting. And um, anxious to see this happen. I just was questioning the amount of road on the east side.
Mhm.
How far does it go off the bridge and all the way across? And then how far to the east?
Well, this is the center, it shows up center line geometry, basically for the center of the headquarters road. Intersects with sheep hole, past the bridge structure.
Yes.
And including the typical, there is actually a diagram.
Yep.
in the agreement as well.
It's
shows
on
the-
almost to the curve.
That shows.
Almost to the real sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
curve.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because there is there's like a spring and there may need to be a culvert or drainage under the portion of headquarters road before you get onto the bridge.
Mhm.
And that's sort of critical because that has not been maintained. That was throwing water onto the bridge. So to have control of that, make sure it's properly maintained is critical for the long-term preservation of the resource. So I'd rather Tinicum have it.
Okay.
Well, before we say that, where are we looking at? here? Are we looking at, I'm looking at a limit of authorization. Where Sheep Hole Road is ours, South directions.
This is the right of way claim.
This one. Yeah. So this is sheep hole.
Okay, so how far down? This is what she's talking about. But their little box is almost.
Maybe. Kurt, on this right of way claim information page, can you mark where you?
Well, the
Okay, that's
actual,
good.
that is an
so we can see
exhibit,
it?
that,
Mhm.
that easement plan is an exhibit, to the agreement. There is actually the transfer project defines it based on the route number
Mhm.
and the segments and the offset, which includes the whole center line geometry. Essentially, it's everything that PennDOT has jurisdiction over in that vicinity is what they are releasing to the township in this agreement.
On the east side of the bridge, can you describe where
Well, they,
where
yes,
the
they,
conveyance will end?
yes, there is, I think it's sheet 8. It actually describes the gates and bounds geometry. Sheet 7, sorry.
I don't think I have a sheet seven.
This is the. This is the-
Yeah.
this is the one I'm
That's the
on.
one you have.
That's the
Yeah.
one I'm on. Yeah, that's what I've been looking at.
What's that?
7, this one here. And it talks about the meets and bounds right here. It says required line right of way.
Yes. That's not the one with the meets and bounds on it, but you have to follow all the line
Segments.
segments. And there's a little triangle that looks like it's part of that condemnation that PennDOT filed, which would include that area.
Does it come down here? Is the question.
I don't believe so. I believe
No.
that's already part of your legal right of way
Yeah.
of headquarters road in this, PennDOT's legal right of way.
It says limit. Right here on this plan, it says limit of authorization. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can see it right here.
Well, that's where I'm trying to go back to.
Mhm.
They're telling us from this center to the center up at Red Hill Road intersection. Everything along that corridor that they essentially have rights to is described in this turnback agreement.
Okay,
They're giving this is an exhibit with the right of way claim to the agreement. So I guess what they're portraying, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, that they're essentially releasing that area to the municipality as well, that they filed a claim over.
Yes,
And that would
That's correct.
include this area,
The corners.
this line.
and then continuing along headquarters, at what point would
where it says-
Right around where-
Legal right of way line, right?
Here?
Mhm.
Okay.
All right,
So
so it's
before
not
the
quite
curve.
there.
It gets you down past the structure.
Yes.
So right there, right where you're,
Some, yeah.
that line
I
right
don't
there.
know if it's not this line, that's the
Okay,
actual
no, no.
dimension line.
Yeah, because it talks of the end full depth pavement up a little further.
Right here.
And
Right there.
stopped work.
Yeah, I believe it's here,
Okay.
follows up here.
That's some,
So I think
Comes back
that, I
over.
think that includes the
Yes.
area of water drainage.
Where the
that-
spring is.
I think that should be included.
Yeah. It's everything that PennDOT has rights to in their claim is what they're listing in this
Right,
agreement.
yeah, no, I just want to make sure that that's good. And that's the.
What did you
It's
say?
greater than that, so it varies for their claim. They went beyond that in some
Oh,
places. When they filed their condemnation.
right.
okay.
All right, good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any further public comment? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the consideration of the execution of the Wood Tiger Agreement. An amendment with the proposed amendment to the payment schedule, which is fine with me.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, like we
Mhm.
pushed that back. It includes for the full costs of construction, legal work, engineering, as was discussed back in, well, earlier this year. Months are starting to bleed together at this point. We also talked about at the time a confession of judgment should they ever not, fulfill their financial obligations. That's contained therein as well. So everything we discussed and we needed, they were agreeable to. And it was just this one minor change now from the original proposed schedule for, like I said, about 45 to 60 extra days to get the last 500,000. So on our normal timeline, we're going to get to 2.5 million. This extended timeline that they're just asking for that little bit of extra will get us to the full 3 million originally discussed earlier in the spring.
And we have received 1.5 million to date.
Correct.
Correct.
All right, and this agreement, it contemplates receiving all the funds needed in full to cover the cost of the rehabilitation of the bridge prior to issuance of the bid. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and does it also contemplate the receipt of the kind of the seed money for the operations and maintenance account that the township will?
And same thing, not necessarily prior to bid. That's going to be finalized once we have the full engineered plans, but the idea there, same thing. They, in addition to us wanting the money upfront, Wood Tiger Fund wants to give us the money upfront because they want the project completed. They want it taken care of. They want to make sure, the bridge is going to be sustained in the long term. And as we might have, we've talked in the past and things like that, and you guys have been dealing with this project for a while. I mean, when it comes to a bridge done properly, something of this size, we're talking about 20, 30 years before any real maintenance should be required outside of resurfacing the deck.
Okay. So John, you've had an opportunity
Yeah, I
to
read that.
review it. Okay, as have I. I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion to execute the Wood Tiger Agreement amendment with to the payment schedule.
No, second that.
Okay, any public comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
We have a section here for supervisors' comments. Do you have any?
No, but I reserve the right to have comments
Okay.
in response to something the public might say.
All right, I don't have any further comments either, and we would invite members of the public to come forward if you would like it to say anything.
This is so great. Yeah.
Look, we have-
Amazing, this bridge after 13 years.
Yeah.
20 years. Moving, it's amazing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so seeing no formal public comment, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right. What if they let anybody in here? It's the only thing.
Don't.